This is The Scoop for Friday.
I'm Lisa Marzilli with the WMNF News headlines. St. Petersburg City officials gathered yesterday in a marathon session to discuss the redevelopment of the historic gas plant district surrounding the Rays Stadium. WMNF's Chris Young reports developers and investors faced questions about the plan, including concerns that the deal gives developer Hines too much power.
St. Petersburg Mayor Ken Welch, City Council, and representatives from the Rays and their development partner Hines met at City Hall to discuss the proposed agreement. The meeting, called a Committee of the Whole, was for City Council to deliberate the deal. Rays President Brian Auld spoke towards the beginning of the meeting.
We know that not everyone loves every aspect of this deal. How could they? That's not how compromises designed to appeal to wide and diverse constituencies work.
A common issue among council members were concerns that the deal gave the developer too much power. Councilmember Lizette Hanowitz emphasized a portion of the deal regarding the city's right to terminate the agreement.
In no event the city has the right to terminate the agreement, notwithstanding any default by developer or by parcel developer.
There were also concerns about the affordable housing plans for the redevelopment. One portion of the deal allowed for developers to have what Councilmember Richie Floyd saw as too much flexibility in locations.
I just don't want to be blunt about it. There to be a possibility that all of the affordable housing could be in one corner wedged next to the interstate. And so I would like to see some protection for that added here.
The group No Home Run protested outside of City Hall. They say the Rays and Hines should pay rent to make up for potentially lost property tax dollars, split revenue with the city and county, and be required to buy the land at a fairer value. The council will meet again to discuss the agreement. For WMNF News, I'm Chris Young.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump held a news conference yesterday alongside the family of 23-year-old black U.S. Air Force Airman Roger Fortson. Fortson was fatally shot in his apartment in Fort Walton Beach by an Okaloosa sheriff's deputy last Friday. Crump is demanding transparency in the investigation and said the circumstances surrounding Fortson's death raised serious questions whether or not deputies identified themselves or even had the right apartment. Hours later, the Okaloosa sheriff held his own news conference and released a video from the officer's body cam. Norman Hall has details.
Sheriff's office, open the door! Step back. Drop the gun! Drop the gun!
He's over there.
Drop the gun!
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump.
They thought he was a bad guy, but he was a good guy.
Crump asserts the deputy did not first tell Senior Airman Roger Fortson to drop the legally owned weapon before firing, was at the wrong apartment, and that the 23-year-old had been on FaceTime with his girlfriend. Sheriff Eric Ayton says investigations take time, that there's no attempt to hide anything. I'm Norman Hall.
So far during Hurricane Preparedness Week, we've talked about getting ready for storms and how to weather them safely. Meteorologist Megan Borowski from the Florida Public Radio Emergency Network says that today's topic focuses on our actions after storms.
Even though skies may clear and winds may die down, there are many hazards to be cognizant of in the aftermath of a system. From downed trees and live power lines to breaks in pipes and natural gas leaks, all of these things can pose a risk to safety. Also, floodwaters can remain high in the wake of a storm, and we're constantly reminded that these waters, too, can be hazardous, from carrying waste and debris to dangerous animals. And also, we should never risk it and try to drive through floodwaters. One last thing to think about is that if the power's out, temperatures indoors will not be regulated by air conditioning units, and vulnerable populations may suffer from heat stroke or heat exhaustion. Avoid strenuous cleanup efforts until extreme heat has subsided or when you have access to cooler environments.
Borowski says regardless of what the upcoming hurricane season may bring, you can stay safe by reviewing the topics covered in this week's hurricane preparedness campaign. She says the key to minimizing a tropical system's impact on our lives is in developing a plan well before the storm, enacting it when the storm threatens, and remaining cautious in the wake of a storm. It's going to be sunny with a high near 90 degrees today. Lows tonight will be in the upper 70s. There is a slight chance for a late afternoon shower, and sunny with a high of 88 on Saturday. I'm Lisa Marzilli with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.